Hello, welcome back. The sales dollar amount picked up more where it should be on a daily. Again, it's cliche anymore now for me to just say ebb and flow, up and down. But why a consistency greatly changes, like drastically changes, no idea. All you can really do is get stuff, picture, and post it. That's a good thing about having the metrics on your store, as you can see on the daily, the weekly, the monthly, on how it goes up and down. And even better yet, the good thing about having a YouTube channel or the date that I post the video on the dollar amount, and I can build a pattern from there and conclude that, oh, it's an average of 300 a day. And then a weekend is only 300, whatever the scenario might be. So it's a very easy metric. It's a very easy data set to refer to see that you can speculate that something's wrong. I would best say that if sales maintain an absolute inconsistency and get less and less, there is something wrong. So I got another negative feedback, and so the one prior to the one that I just got and the one before that, in messages, the buyers were just asking on how to return or they want a refund. So the one I just got says, and it's a Barbara Streisand CD. They messaged me saying, hey, the DVD is blank. I want a refund. I respond with, do they open a return? Nope. So I was on the phone with eBay yesterday for 50 minutes, 50. That usually doesn't pan out to be to resolve much of anything, because it's just going to get transferred to someone. And a matter of fact, within an hour, someone responded with, oh, the two, not the one I just got. The first two, they're like, oh, no, that's buyer experience. Well, buyer experience is they want to return it, and they're not. So I mentioned to that rep, if in any feedback and any message a buyer states refund or return and they never do, and then they eventually leave a neutral or negative, that should come off. Not, oh, they have to open up a return and then it'll come off. If they say return, and especially if it's multiple times and they never do it, what makes you think that they are? Because if they do, the feedback comes off. Sometimes people just think way more, way better than the people who don't think for themselves. That reminds me of a channel that I watch. It's called Tones Overthinks It, and it's regarding mainly sovereign citizens and these First Amendment frauditors, the ones that go on government property and get kicked off and say, "Oh, I never knew." Yeah, you knew because you've got 30 convictions of it. But on the good news, like I started the video off with, it's 319 with 9 orders. Well, let's find out what they are. Mario 8. If you've been playing along, if you've been watching the channel, you know that a couple videos ago, I resurfaced this one here. It was not in the video, but it was in the stack what needed resurfaced. Cleaned up. It still has one real minor scratch on it, or scuff. 37. Forza Samurai, 47. Toby Keith, Beer for My Horses, $20. Some more Mario stuff. Mario Teaches Typing, 18. Best of Taylor Dane Japanese Import, 59. American Hustle, $9. Sealed Bleak House, Julian Anderson, 30. And I noticed the little icon, bell icon, which tells me that something else sold. Gregorian Chants for All Season CD, 14. So that turned out to be 10 for 334. Better, and my sales should be low 200s to pushing 500 on a daily. Do stuff on a daily. The methods that I do are spread out through the videos. I go to a slew of different thrift stores more commonly, more frequently than what I have so far this month. However, another store in another area closed. And no, it's not because of me. The one on Lee Road also closed, so that limits on the frequency for which I go to certain directions. And if I just go by, there's 4 primary, now I can't go north because I'll end up in Lake Erie, but there's 4 primary directions that I can go, and each of those have 4 to 7 stores. And that's all within 45 minutes. And I can go to the farthest one, start working my way back. But if I do all that in 1 week, then I'm definitely posed to just have to hit more local stores for the next 3 weeks. Some I will repeat every 2 weeks. But the point is that I can get to a lot of stores on multiple times throughout a couple weeks, throughout a month. And each time I go, I can come back with anything from 15 to 50 plus things. And if I get 50 or 60, whatever it may be, and I have a big stack, it's like the same thing with Lee Road. Because most of the time, even if you include drive time, average throughout the entire year, week by week, I'm probably only putting in 30 hours. Maybe a little more, 33, just because sequential. Well, no, it's not sequentially 34. Let's just even say 34. So that is kind of a generic basis on that. So if I put a lot more, even 10 more full hours in, I'd have to break a lot of the work up that I do, because there's days where I will do stuff for 10 hours. Days I'll do stuff for 2 or 3. So it'd be nice when we move that and get more structured. And I'm structured now comparing to some. That's subjective. But it'd be nice to be able to move and I can accommodate more. And I brought it up before about getting a pallet. I'm not going to discuss getting a pallet as opposed to going out and buying one-off items. And one-off items would be just me looking on the shelves, grabbing stuff, scanning, I want that one. Buying a pallet, you don't decide which ones you don't want. You already bought it all. And I have a very early video of taking me essentially 10 hours to go through what was essentially 3 pallets to get about $2,000 worth. I can go to 3 or 4 stores on almost any given day, and go scan and go one off and spend 4 hours and end up with $1,500 to $2,000. 10 hours plus the initial cost of a pallet of $200 to $400. 6 to 10 hours for potential of just making your money back to $3,000-$4,000. I've done them before. I'm not going to turn out an opportunity to spend my time to find stuff, but I just want to do that. Now I think this is about the very first time I've ever asked anything like this in any videos. I do have a question. What is it that you think eBay should add for seller protections against unsavory, negative, and neutral feedbacks? So I've mentioned plenty of times before to them, if the buyer in the feedback or in messages at all writes the word refund or return, and they never initiate a refund or return, and they leave a negative or neutral feedback, that should come off. What are your ideas? Not like they'll really take it to heart. They're like, oh yeah, just more sellers trying to scam. I have no idea. I don't want to speculate on what they think, but it seems that the seller protections that they put out fall of last year It was a some are still there, some are still absolute, but everything else is just it just seems like a facade. It's just words to garner more sellers to stick around. I don't know. But what are your ideas? What would you like to have for more protections? All right. Well, while editing the video, this book sold. It's a little book of mouthpieces and stuff for brass. $50. And this sold yesterday. I couldn't find it while I made the initial video, and I found it because, of course, it was pretty much right under my nose, and that's 34. So that wraps all that up. If you like what you heard, like what you saw, feel free to comment, thumbs up, and subscribe, share. They're all free. Take a second. Everything helps. Appreciate it. Thank you.